Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Watch my video and subscribes my channel. Steffi's rage over Liam's vanishing. Bold, the beautiful Steffi Forrester is unhappy that Liam Spencer is gone. And we are also going to witness Taylor Hayes in kind of panic mode. As we always do on early edition day, we start with what's coming the rest of this week. Bold and the beautiful Liam's health crisis and Bill's intervention. So on Wednesday, July 16th, we've got Bridget and Finn chatting to one another, and they're impressed by how Liam is fighting through not only the disease and the deadly brain tumor, and now this gunshot wound to the chest, and he's just still really hanging in there. But they are going to be surprised to find out that Liam is gone from the hospital. And we know that Grace Buckingham and Liam and Bill Spencer are already over at the private facility on Wednesday. So, I wonder whether Grace is going to notify Bridget and Finn that she transported him to another hospital. She can't really admit to this experimental operation, you know. So maybe Grace tells them Liam's heading to a private clinic to rehabilitate and she may hold back on info. Bold and beautiful early spoilers July 21st to 25th. Steffi furious that Liam's gone, soap dirt. Bold and the beautiful spoilers. Finn and Bridget skeptical. Bridget and Finn are going to be talking about that this is kind of weird technique. But Grace is pleased to cash that $1 million payment from Dollar Bill. But I do also think that Grace is honestly trying to give Liam his absolute best hope. I mean, both things can be true. She can need the money and be attempting to help him. So Bill and Liam over in the private clinic on Wednesday, and Liam is shocked that things are going so fast, getting him this experimental treatment. Bill acknowledges it's a lot, but he reminds his son the alternative is death or a somewhat slower death, but either way death. And Liam is quite excited about the prospect of a possible solution for what he was told was fatal brain cancer. And Bill adds after they find out that they've got good news after the procedure is complete. Then Bill says they will tell folks what's going on. So nobody knows save Bill and Liam and Grace. And she comes in and tells both Bill and Liam, sure, this is unorthodox, but she has absolute faith in the treatment and in the doctor that's conducting it that we still haven't met. We're going to talk about him or her in just a second. Bold and the beautiful drama. Bill's secret moves and Steffi's reaction. On Thursday, July 17th. So this is a pretty bizarre spoiler. It states, Bill whisks Liam away from the hospital while he's unconscious. Now, I don't know if the spoilers are wacky this week. Sometimes they get things out of order. They really don't do a fantastic job when they share the spoilers from the PR office, since we know Bill has already taken Liam away from the hospital, while Liam was wide awake to this clinic, as you're going to see on Wednesday. So, I doubt that Bill is taking Liam from the surgical center shortly after brain surgery. So, what I wonder is whether this is more of word spreads on Thursday that Bill whisked Liam out of the hospital without alerting Steffi or Hope Logan or anybody, which, by the way, Liam signed documents and agreed to. Grace handed him over, he signed them. All that consent is there, which startled me, but it's nice. So, I'm delighted that Bill wasn't having to push it. I'm delighted that Liam's absolutely on board. Bold and the beautiful spoilers. Blanket bloopers? So, Grace and this mystery doctor are going to execute the brain surgery on Liam, and the pic seems totally insane. I can't show you for copyright concerns, but it seems like Liam's on a table wrapped up in a brilliant blue blanket. You know, those blanket, backward robe things they used to sell on TV. It seems like he's in a blanket with just his face showing and then, I guess the top where his head's going to be taken out. And I wonder if they're actually going to shave part of his head or if he's going to come out of this with just like a Band-Aid placed over all his head. You know, that's not how they conduct brain surgery. But we'll see. Scott Clifton may not have wanted to chop his hair. So Hope and Steffi are sitting by an empty hospital bed this week, looking sad. And that's what you get for lying to Bill about why Liam didn't inform him about the cancer. Because Steffi flat out lied, or the authors forgot the dialogue they wrote before, or they just didn't care, because Liam wasn't keeping the disease secret from Bill out of any type of resentment. Bold and the beautiful spoilers. Forrester Creations, Italy trip, and Taylor's wedding plans. So, Watch for the staff over at Forrester Creations to begin preparations for the Italy trip, with Nick continuing to press Brooke Logan to fly with him, not Eric Forrester and Ridge Forrester, as they leave on the Forrester jet. And I wonder if Taylor is going to keep pressing to get Ridge to establish a wedding date before he goes. Maybe she's going to hint around to get invited along on the vacation. When Taylor said to Ridge earlier this week, "Let's set a date," and he said, "For what?" I was like, "Oh, girl, that man is not going to marry you." When you're engaged and you say set a date, he doesn't think it's for a movie or a dinner. You know that truly, I literally laughed out loud. That was funny. Just a little foreshadowing. It's not going to go well for Taylor on Bold and the Beautiful. Bold and the Beautiful weekly recap. Family tensions, medical miracles, and Italian escapades. Friday, July 18th, Brooke, Taylor, and Ridge set aside their differences to be present for Steffi and Hope, who are very unhappy about Liam being just poof gone. And at this point, I wonder when and if Bill will give them any type of update, or, maybe he's going to withhold knowledge just a little while longer since he's very unhappy that Steffi and Hope attacked him. Justifiably or not, they were trying to keep him away from his son and were lying. That's just the bottom line. That is what happened. No matter whose team you're on, that those are facts. So Steffi is back at Forrester Creations this week, out of the hospital, back over. Since Liam's gone, she's not going to sit beside the vacant hospital bed. She's at work, but she's looking quite troubled. They had her tucked under the desk 'cause she's at this time, 10.5 months pregnant. It feels like she's been pregnant for so long. And they're disguising that enormous fat baby bump. I can't imagine that Steffi or Hope, either one, are going to be able to focus on work, but they do need something to distract them. So maybe they're going to help Bridget and Eric and Brooke prep for that trip. Bold and the Beautiful spoilers. Stephanie and Hope struggle. The week of July 21st through the 25th, Stephanie and Hope are still struggling, worrying about Liam, hoping he's okay. Neither of them believe Bill, who clearly wants to save Liam's life. But I think he's also searching for a little bit of atonement, because if Bill can save Liam when everybody else was just watching him die and Bill's gone and done something miraculous, that's going to be enormous. I am guessing that when he talks to Steffi and Hope, he's going to tell them to back off Bill. They're not going to like that. Finn steps up for Steffi's. He may try to gain info from Grace. Carter Walton is going to step up for Hope's. I suspect that Liam is hiding a secret. I do expect a full reenactment of the Finn being shot and hidden away. Maybe Luna Nozawa is in a coma. We'll see. But she does have episodes in September. Bold and the Beautiful spoilers. Taylor pushes. Liam's future is unknown. We'll find out more about the mysterious doctor soon. I believe it'd be amazing if it was Wayne Brady, who is dropping in as Grace's ex-husband, Ree Buckingham, who did the experimental operation. I mean, he was an OBGYN, but what's the big deal? Lady bits, brain bits, it's all bits, right? Taylor continues trying to finish wedding preparations before he travels. But it's almost to be too late. Brad Bell claims Ridge experiences something in Italy that changes everything. Liam and Bill do some bonding and hoping and praying that this experimental procedure works. I'm assuming it will. And this was all for Scott Clifton's Emmy reel next year. Bridget and Finn may push for answers from Grace. And by the end of the week, look for travel to Italy to kick off. Everybody is on the road since the actual scenes in Italy begin on Monday, July 28th, and they last through Tuesday, August 5th. Liam's pre-op nervous confession. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers update for Wednesday, July 16th, says that Hope Logan and Steffi Forrester will be kept in the dark while Liam Spencer makes a frightened confession to Bill Spencer. After Liam's covertly whisked to a private surgical clinic, Bill will ask if he's doing okay. Liam will say that he believes so, but he'll ultimately feel overwhelmed when he discloses where his head is at. Since Liam's been recovering from Luna Nozawa's bullet, it'll be a lot to digest now that he's ready to undertake an experimental treatment for his brain tumor. Everything will seem like it's happening incredibly fast. So Liam will talk about the operation being provided by Dr. Grace Buckingham and some doctor he doesn't even know yet. Bill will get why Liam's feeling apprehensive, but he'll remind Liam that the alternatives would merely delay the inevitable. This particular procedure won't only offer Liam additional time if it truly succeeds. It might provide a cure and keep Liam alive. Bill will concede that all this is a bit disconcerting, especially because the plan required so much secrecy. Liam may feel a little terrible about leaving Hope and Steffi in the dark, considering they're the moms of his girls. Nevertheless, Bill will feel certain that good news is ahead for Liam and that it'll all be worth it in the end. Grace will walk in on Bill's happiness and compliment his attitude, since optimism goes a long way in times like this. After Grace confesses this is unorthodox, B&B spoilers claim she'll convince Liam that some nerves are to be expected. Even so, Grace will pledge that she believes in her colleague and in the process that's been devised. While Grace preps Liam for the operation table, John Finnegan and Bridget Forrester will have a Liam-related talk back at the hospital. That'll offer Bridget and Finn an opportunity to gush about how brave Liam's been while overcoming so many hurdles. There'll also be some questions about Grace's behavior, so her cover-up about Liam's hospital disappearance may throw off a few warning bells. The bold and the beautiful teasers suggest Liam's time in the, or will bring some concern for Bill next. Did the bold and the beautiful just save Liam to kill him off? The bold and the beautiful spoilers claim Liam Spencer is awake and alive following emergency surgery to remove the bullet Luna Nozawa planted in him. But did Grace Buckingham save him simply so the writers could murder Scott Clifton's character off another way? Keep reading to discover out. Here's what's happening next on Bold and Beautiful. Liam wakes up. Soap viewers were on the tip of their seats this week, waiting to see if Liam Spencer woke up after he got shot. Grace Buckingham and Bridget Forrester quickly raced around the operating room and managed to save Bill Spencer's son. Liam is now stable and waking up from surgery, but how much time does he actually have among the land of the living? Before he was shot by Luna Nozawa, Liam was battling cancer and told he had an inoperable brain tumor. Despite Dr. John Finnegan's medical advice, Liam has refused to attend chemotherapy sessions. He doesn't want to spend his final days miserable from the treatments. Liam Spencer's cancer battle. It seems counterproductive for the writers to go to such great measures to spare Liam Spencer from getting shot, only to kill him off a few months later with cancer. B&B teasers have been hinting for a while now that Liam will make a miraculous recovery and beat his terrible prognosis. Since TPB just protected him from getting shot, there seems to be some validity to those allegations. Why save him just to kill him off a few weeks later? Scott Clifton has been tight-lipped regarding his status on The Bold and the Beautiful. No one from the soap has acknowledged nor dismissed the rumors of the actors leaving. Do you think Liam is sticking around? Would you be sad to see Scott Clifton exit? Steffi Forrester's fury was a force of nature, violent, primal, and absolutely uncontainable. The instant she came into Liam's hospital room and saw it empty, clean, and robbed of the warmth and horror that had hung to that space like a shadow for days, something inside her snapped. The heart monitor was gone. The 4-pole stood alone in the corner like a forgotten relic. And the bed where she had held his hand and whispered frantic pleadings into the sterile air, was stripped bare. Her first instinct wasn't grief or panic, it was wrath. Rage that she'd been left out. Rage that someone had stolen Liam right out from under her nose, and rage that no one had told her. That wrath found its first target in the nearest nurse, a young lady who cringed noticeably under Steffi's screaming demand, "Where is he?" The nurse stammered something about a transfer, a doctor's order, a private facility. Nonsense. Steffi shouted at her again, demanding names, times, locations, but the poor nurse had nothing substantial. That simply made it worse. Because Steffi knew, with a bone-deep conviction, who had done this. Bill Spencer. It had his fingerprints all over it, his arrogance, his concealment, his idea that his money gave him authority over other people's lives. But what devastated Steffi the most was the possibility that Liam might have agreed to it. That maybe, just maybe, he'd chosen to go without telling her. That betrayal was worse than the tumor, the bullet wound, or the hours she had spent desperately yearning for him to open his eyes. She stormed through the hospital hallways, demanding answers from every doctor she saw. Bridget was the first real source of intel. She admitted, grudgingly, that Liam was no longer under hospital care. But beyond that, even she had no idea where Liam had gone. "You're telling me you let him walk out of here without telling his family?" "Without telling me." Steffi spat, her eyes wide and furious. Bridget tried to explain that Grace Buckingham had handled the transfer, that all the paperwork had been signed properly, and that Liam had consented. That merely stoked the flames. Steffi felt played, lied to, manipulated by Bill and Grace, who were acting like gods selecting who lives and who died. She went directly to Finn. Her husband, her partner. He'd know what to do. But even Finn was perplexed. "He's just gone?" he asked in disbelief. Steffi threw up her hands. "Yes, Finn. They took him. They just abducted him like he's some piece of property." The rage had metastasized now. It was no longer merely about Liam's disappearance. It was about control, manipulation, and the horrible conclusion that Steffi, who had always battled tooth and nail to protect her family, had been abandoned on the outside. Again, the way hope had always lingered in the background of her life with Liam. Now Bill was doing the same, pulling the strings behind the curtain, while Steffi was left holding an empty bedpan of memories. She raced into Grace's office next, rushing past an intern and slamming the door behind her. "You tell me where he is, or so help me God." Grace stayed unnaturally calm. Liam gave full consent. But Steffi wasn't interested in law. She was interested in love, family, trust. "And he didn't think I deserved to know?" she hissed. Grace blinked. "He said he didn't want to burden you." That phrase cut worse than any operation could have. Steffi didn't cry, not yet, but her voice quivered as she spoke. "He's my daughter's father. I've been here every second, and he didn't think I deserved the truth." Grace said nothing. That hush resonated louder than any cry. Steffi left the hospital in a stupor, but the wrath boiled just beneath her fancy jacket. Back at Forrester Creations, she tried to work, tried to evaluate designs, and pretend she cared about fashion when the guy she loved was somewhere unknown, undergoing experimental brain surgery, maybe by someone with no business being inside his head. But her hands shook too violently to sketch. Her eyes clouded too quickly to evaluate cloth swatches. Taylor discovered her there. Hours later, still sitting behind her desk in the same position, her legs tucked behind her like a young girl lost in a too big world. "He's gone, Mom," Steffi whispered. "They took him, and I wasn't enough to stop it." Taylor tried to soothe her, but Steffi jerked away. Don't tell me it's going to be okay." Taylor's voice cracked. "We have to believe in the best, sweetheart." But Steffi wasn't so sure. Not anymore. Not when Liam's life was in the hands of a lady who had once let her own daughter, Zoe, follow lies across countries. Not when Bill Spencer was playing puppet master again. And not after Liam had looked her in the eyes and told her she was everything, only to go without a word. Steffi's wrath didn't cool over time. It solidified. She approached Hope next at the Forrester design office. "Did you know?" she asked flatly. Hope's face paled. "No. I swear, I didn't." But Steffi wasn't sure she believed her, because no matter how often Hope rejected it, she always appeared to have some unspoken relationship with Liam. "If you hear anything," Steffi threatened, "you tell me. Immediately." Hope nodded solemnly, but Steffi didn't trust anyone now, except maybe Finn, and even he was on thin ice. She needed to know where Liam was, who was cutting into his brain, what medicines they were giving him, whether he was awake, in pain, dying, or dead. And no one could tell her. That night, Steffi cuddled up on the floor of Kelly's room, watching her daughter sleep, tears finally pouring silently down her cheeks. Your daddy's gone, she murmured, and I don't know if he's coming back. But wrath doesn't sleep. Rage inspires action. And by morning, Steffi had developed a plan. She called a PI. She texted Carter and asked he investigate into Grace's medical licensing history. She sent Ridge a message, seeking access to the Forrester jet. I'm going to find him, she said to Taylor, even if I have to burn down every hospital and clinic in California. Because love may make you weep, but wrath makes you move. And Steffi Forrester was done waiting.